Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of MILF marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, everyone. This is Bree Carroll, and you are back for another episode of Hearts and Stripes. I am so glad that you are joining us here. If you are here, you are looking to strengthen your military marriage. You are looking to help me bring marriage back in style, and you are ready to celebrate authentically according to your core values. That is what we are doing here at Hearts and Stripes, and I am thrilled that you are along for the ride. So this episode, we will just be continuing with our marriage bridge blueprint. All that is my method guiding you to achieve all of those things, to come out of this thing stronger than ever. And all you have to do is care. C-A-R-E. We went through careful consideration last week. The last 2 weeks, actually, we talked about assessing the foundation. Today, we're going to talk about reinforcing the structure. And in the upcoming weeks, we will talk about engage and trust. So I think we are just on a roll right now when it comes to this method. It is awesome. I'm excited to jump into reinforcing the structure, and then I do have some announcements that I will share with you later on in this episode about some exciting things coming up at the end of the week. But I won't delay you. We're going to jump into this phase of the marriage bridge blueprint, which is reinforcing the structure. So what does reinforce mean? Let's go ahead and break this thing down. Reinforcing is simply to strengthen or to support. And I love how the definition breaks out when it says that it's going to add some materials to it. So when we're reinforcing something, I know a lot of times if you're visual, maybe you may think of a weak beam or a vertical piece of wood, right? And to reinforce it and to shore it up and make it stronger, you might want to add some supporting wood to thicken it up or beef it up in some type of way. That's what we're going to do when we're talking about our relationship. We're reinforcing that, and that picture of that vertical beam, I want you to keep that in your head, keep that image going as we talk about the structure. So of course, the structure, yeah, we're talking about our marriage, but why I like the term structure is because it's something that is constructed or arranged in a definite pattern or organization. So there is some construction, there's some arrangement, there may be a pattern, there's an organized way of doing, like there's a method. That's your structure of your marriage. It's not something that is careless. It is something that is not thought, like you just aren't thinking through it. There is a space that is created called your marriage that you can operate within. And that's what I love about reinforcing your structure. You are creating a safe space for your marriage to grow and to be strong, right? Hashtag MILF marriage strong. That's what we're here for. That's what this is all about. And that's why I'm excited about reinforcing your structure. So we're going to dive right in to just some simple things that make up reinforcing your structure. So we're going to talk about some rules, some expectations. So rules and expectations are not the same thing. Rules are how you operate. That's the guidelines, right? Rules can include maybe these couple questions. So what are deal breakers in your relationship? That may lead you to a rule. right? Maybe infidelity, maybe cheating, like that is breaking a rule. And I know people may be like, well, duh, of course cheating is a rule breaker. No, not necessarily, because you do have people who have relationships that are open. They might be swingers. That may be okay. In however they do what they do, they still have rules. So you have to talk about what are deal breakers. Another thing that may define a rule is what are some must-dos or some must-haves in your relationship. So must-haves. Let me break down must-haves for you really quickly, because this is something that I feel like is really big. So women, come on, ladies. Hey, shout out, ladies. Some must-haves could be what women need. And what women need, what I found, is security, affection, and communication. I'm going to say that again. A must-have for my ladies, which may be a need for them and drives a rule, is security, affection, and communication. Because y'all know we love to talk. You know, we need those things. We need to feel safe. We want affection, right? We want affection. Must-haves for my gentlemen. Hey, all my guys. Hey, what's up? I'm talking to you. Men need to be honored. They need to be respected. And men need sex. Yup, I said it. Direct, in your face. Sex. They need sex. And that may be a driver or what guides you to a rule in your relationship. Honor, respect, and sex. That's what those guys need. And in understanding those rules or those must-haves in this area, that saves you a whole lot of heartache, because a lot of times we just assume that our partner just needs the same thing that we need. Okay, case in point, let's talk about this. Women, I said a need for a woman is affection. That is different than a man's need of sex. Those are two different things. Affection and sex are not the same thing. But often we assume that we all just want the same thing. No, we don't. And in understanding that, you can create that structure, those rules around what are deal breakers as it relates to those needs. What are must-dos as it relates to that need, or must-haves, right? So now let's break down expectations, because expectations are different. Expectations are one of those things where it's like, if you don't meet an expectation, it's not as big of a deal as breaking a rule. Breaking a rule will take you completely off course. Breaking a rule will break down trust. Breaking a rule will break down the structure of your marriage, because you're not operating within the parameters of what you're building, right? But an expectation is like, oh, I didn't really like that, or I'm waiting for this thing, but it's not gonna completely just throw you off course. So an expectation, for example, that could be vacation. I know my family, growing up, we were used to taking vacations over the summer. I could anticipate almost every summer driving with my parents, my mom and dad, to North Carolina, for example. That was a go-to. Or my mom's side, who is actually from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That was like a no-brainer. It's summertime, we're going somewhere, we're going to see family, or we're going to go on a vacation and do summertime fun things. And usually it involves some water, like a beach or something. Well, my husband's family wasn't necessarily the same way. To be clear, he doesn't even like water like I like water. Like, he's not trying to be laid up at a beach all the time. That's an expectation that I carried, but we had to communicate like, hey, what does a vacation even mean to you? Because to him, he's on vacation when he can, have time at home without the kids. That's it. We didn't go anywhere vacation. that So you have to be clear about what your expectations are for some things. Let's talk about family time, because what I like about expectations is it also helps you set up some boundaries, right? Family time. We may have time where he needs his alone time and I need my alone time. There are times when we all need to be together as a family, the kids and us, just all piled up on a couch together. And then there are other times when the kids need to not be there and we have to have grown up time. It allows us to set boundaries when we can express our expectations of what those times break out to within a day or a week. That's how you start setting up a structure and that space for your marriage to flourish. Or how about this expectation? Your lifestyle. Woo! Lifestyle of the rich and famous. No, I mean, I'm talking about lifestyle because it's very important. Your expectations also drive your spending and how you work together in your marriage and in your finances. Yep. What is that BAH doing for your living situation? Are you living at the lifestyle that you're both in agreement on? Because if you're not, if your signing bonus doesn't get you the mansion that your spouse may be expecting, you might need to have a conversation about managing your expectations. We are in the midst of a pandemic, right? So some people are not working. Some, not all. But maybe you had to manage your expectations on your spending is a little different. You're prioritizing those essential things that you maybe need to have in the house, and you're maybe not like cooking steak every day. All that takes is just a conversation to help put you guys on the same page. That's all that is. These rules and these expectations, I know they don't sound like they're fun, but trust me, you will appreciate creating that space together so that your relationship can grow within those parameters. You choose it. You get to decide. But you know what you also decide? If you don't talk about it, you also decide that your parameters may completely be different. I mean, your spouse may be thinking that they can run around and do what they want in 4,000 square feet of space, and you may be thinking that y'all are nice and cozy in 2,000 square feet of space. And you're wondering why he or she is like all outside of what you thought your marriage was going to be. Because you didn't set those rules and you have not established or talked about your expectations. That can be very challenging if you don't take the time to do. So I have some questions that you'll go through for EYS, but let's just go a step further and let's just talk about it as it relates to why rules and expectations are important. So let's break it down. What has rules? Games have rules, guys. Games. I'm telling you, this is fun. This is exciting. You should be excited about setting these rules and expectations for your relationships because rules are good and they're fun and they're healthy, and games have rules. So the first game that kind of came to mind when I was talking about this subject is Spades. And if you have never played Spades, I highly encourage you to just, maybe you want to pause this episode and just go look up Spades, but I'll give you the high level version of Spades. So Spades is a card game that I actually learned how to play in college. My husband and I like to play the game together. But what I love about Spades is that it is a game that causes you to, one, you have to follow the rules, and two, you have to play with your partner without really communicating what the other person is going to do, because you're like paying attention to the cards that are put down on the table. The parameters of the game, which suits are high and will cause you to win the hand. And it's just a lot of fun to play together. And you're playing against another couple or another team, right? So you're dealt a hand of cards, which life can deal us some different hands of cards, right? And you learn that with your hand and with your couple's hand, how you can come off on top, because the two of you have to bid what you think you can win. So let me stop right there, because Spades has life lessons for days, right? But this particular topic, we're talking about the hand that we're dealt, and it would be, I think it's a time that I need to stop and just address that everybody comes from different backgrounds, right? Everyone has different life experience. We are all have of different cultures, and currently we've been talking a lot about race, right? Everybody has been dealt a different hand of cards. In a marriage and in spades, you and your significant other work together with the hands that you are dealt to win. You make a bid, or you're going to say how many of these hands you're going to win based off of the number of cards that you have. And it is your objective for the two of you to work together to make those amount of bids. You're working towards that number that you said. So why is that important? You're setting that expectation right there. You are saying, me and you are going to lock it in. Maybe you got some high cards in your hand and I have some high cards in my hand. I think I can win 3 in a possible. I'm not sure about this queen I got over here, but it's 3 in a possible. And like I said, if you don't know spades, just look it up. Follow me. And your partner may be like, ooh, her hand is better than mine. I have 2 in a possible, but since I know that she's a strong player, maybe I know that she gives it her all on the workplace, or she has this vision or this dream for this business. I know how driven she is. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to take my 2 in a possible and her 3 in a possible, and we just going to go 7, because we're going to make this work. And you're working together with the hand that you're dealt because you understand the rules of the game. You both understand that when an initial suit is put down on the table, that suit determines what the following cards will be thrown down. You're not going to renege or throw the wrong suit of cards after a heart is played. You're not going to put down a club. You could put down a spade because a spade trumps everything. So maybe you have that advantage over situations. But the reason why you're winning is because you're working together as a team. You are understanding the rules of the game because you've taken the time to practice them, right? You've set an expectation in your marriage because you bid on the number of hands that you're going to win. That's what this is about. That's reinforcing the structure. Play spades. It'll change your life, y'all. I'm telling you. Just learn how to play spades. Try it out. And you'll understand that creating that structure, creating these parameters in your marriage and in your relationships, they can be fun. Because now you realize you got all of this space. You got all this opportunity. You know what you're reaching for. You know what you're going for. That's why I brought up lifestyle. Because if the two of you are like, hey, I'm trying to live at a certain level of lifestyle, then you know that you and him are going to put on your big girl or big boy pants, and you're going to run after some dreams and some goals together. And that's amazing. That's what I want to see in our couples that are here with us at Hearts and Stripes. You running after these things that are going to bring you joy and fulfillment in your marriage. And it's not always monetary, right? It's not. But because you are communicating those expectations, you know where each of you stands. You know how to motivate one another. You're meeting each other's needs like we talked about, right? That's what this is all about. Reinforcing the structure. I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to quote and read a quote from Michelle Obama. I really admire her. I loved her book Becoming. If you saw the documentary on Netflix, it was awesome. I loved how they covered her book tour. And the reason why I admire Michelle Obama, not just because of her position as being the former first lady, but I really loved how her and President Barack Obama carried themselves as a married couple. If you're not a fan of what they did in politics, that's fine, but there is something to be said about a husband and wife that they were a dynamic duo, like hands down. I don't think anybody can disagree on just how they were as a couple. So I really love how she said in her speech, she said, marriage is a choice you make every day. You don't do it because it's easy. You do it because you believe in it. You believe in the other person. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why it is important to marry someone that you respect. It's important to marry someone who is equal to you. And to marry somebody, and to marry somebody and to be with someone who wants you to win as much as you want them to win. My husband is my teammate. If we are going to win this game together, he has to be strong and he has to be okay with me being strong. I don't want a weak player on my team, nor does he. Michelle. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I'm going to repeat that last part on there where she's saying, if we are going to win this game together, he has to be strong and he has to be okay with me being strong. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we're talking about here in the Spades game, right? You know the rules of the game. You have set these expectations, and you have to be as strong as individuals. That's all about reinforcing the structure too. I am a big fan of being strong independently because I feel that when the individual person in the relationship is strong, then the marriage flourishes that much more. You are able to see that much more success. And Michelle just lays it out. She's like, she don't want no weak players on her team. Barack, you gotta come with it. Right? And as a couple, that's what we have to do. We have to encourage one another. We have to give each other space to lead. We have to encourage and uplift one another. Right? That's how we're successful in this thing called marriage. That's how we can reinforce that structure. So I just love that. I had to share words from Michelle Obama, but I do want to leave you with this. In EYS, we're going to talk about some questions that I want you guys to run through. So continue to listen for that, but take the time to reinforce your structure. Just take the time to reinforce your structure. It may be difficult to kind of, if you've been married for a couple of years and you hadn't had these initial conversations, you may be a little afraid to find out what the answers are now, but it's worth it. It is worth it to know what parameters you guys can run around in. It is good to know what expectations your partner may be waiting for you to meet that you didn't even know you were falling short on. Have the conversations, reinforce the structure, and have a strong marriage. This podcast is sponsored by B. Carroll Events for wedding and event planning and design. Let's talk. Everyone, mark your calendars for the Military Family Town Hall. It's an open discussion on race and the impact on military families. You are not going to want to miss this. Let's Talk is going to be on June 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be live streamed on my public Facebook page. That's Bree Carroll 2020 Armed Forces Insurance Air Force Spouse of the Year Facebook page on June 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You're not going to want to miss this. I'll be one of the hosts along with the amazing Maxine Reyes. We have some fantastic speakers who will be with us. Jennifer Brantley, Military Spouses for Black Lives Matter, Megan Brown, Alicia Rogers, Brianna Keller, Deontay and Lakeisha Cole, Sarah Strider, Charlinda Scales of Mud Sauce. Guys, you have to be there, and it will be live on June 19th. Mark your calendars. Be there for this discussion on race and the impact on the military family. Let's talk. Okay, everyone, you know what time it is. It is time to EYS, earn your stripes. And as we are going through our marriage bridge blueprint, we are reinforcing our structure. And what I want you to do really quickly is to imagine a bridge. Imagine a bridge that we are building right now. I hope that none of you are picturing that Indiana Jones rickety footbridge that's missing boards and is wobbling, and you just don't know if it's gonna get you across, or Tomb Raider for my younger people out there who maybe are not sure. Don't go through that rickety bridge. That's not what we're building here. We are reinforcing that structure. We are shoring up those vertical beams and structures that's going all the way down into that foundation, or those vertical structures that are going across the deck to strengthen your marriage. And how we're going to do that is by having you list out your rules and your expectations. So take a piece of paper, number 1 through 5. I want you to write down 5 rules for your marriage. Take the same piece of paper, maybe underneath it, list out some expectations, and I just want you to put 3 expectations. That's 8 total. You have 5 rules, 3 expectations. You can do more if you would like, but I want you to head on over after you've created your list. Go to the Instagram page. That's B Carroll Events on Instagram, B Carroll Events with an S, and just share what one of your expectations are. We're going to EYS. We're going to hash out what our rules and expectations are. We're going to hold each other accountable with these rules and these expectations on our Instagram, B Carroll Events. Join in on the fun. Let's reinforce those structures. Let's do it. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.